Hello, this is the One Episode Rule, a podcast about first impressions. I am Magpie, coming to you with a sleepy January energy.
Mm-hmm.
But we got we actually watched some anime, so I got some stuff to talk about here in a second. But can you guys introduce yourselves first?
I'm Blackhole. For the first time in a while, I think I've been kind of AWOL. I've been playing so much Steins Gate.
You weren't Blackhole before, but now you are.
I weren't
again.
Blackhole, but now I'm Blackhole.
Did you say Steins Gate?
I've been playing so much of the Steins Gate visual novel.
That's fun.
This is anime adjacent.
It is anime adjacent. It's like anime's little brother, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got a lot of the trappings and stuff, but I like it a lot. I had watched the anime a while ago, but me playing the visual novel for the first time, I makes me want to play more visual novels. And then I look at VNDB and I'm just like, Steins Gate apparently is the best visual novel of all time. So I'm just like, oh, it's just going to be downhill from here, huh?
You're just like, well, this is the only one I need to play. This is the experience.
Can I recommend to you Higurashi?
You could.
I don't find Higurashi very compelling.
Or the one with the witches.
That would be.
Which one is that one?
Umineko.
Umineko. I forgot the name Umineko for some reason.
Did we watch that one?
We did.
The first episode of the anime.
We did both.
We have seen both of them.
We became entranced with Higurashi, but I know multiple people who are in the Umineko mines forever.
Yeah,
because it is longer. It is longer than the Bible.
It is quite long.
The thing is that I can only, I don't know. I guess I do actually have a high tolerance for a lot of text because I did play all of Disco Elysium 3 times.
But you're picky about it. I get you.
Yeah.
Understandable. Well, hello, I'm Joey. I've been catching up with a couple of anime this week myself. Turn A, Gundam, and, that other one we watch sometimes.
That Jujutsu Kaisen.
The JJKs.
That's
what I've been up to.
That's a good-ass action show.
It is.
I did that, and I did more free run. Today even, and that show is good. I'm having a good time. It is just genuinely nice to experience.
Yeah, someone else here is watching free run, I believe.
No one else is watching free run. Go away. Hi, it's Louis. I don't have anything. Well, actually, I've been watching free run. I've also been rewatching the second season of Blue Exorcist. Because season 3 is dropping, or is out already, I think.
Yeah, I think it's here.
It's here. Wow, just a week away.
Wow.
And, I gotta say, for Blue Exorcist, I kind of, I watched season 1 when it came out in, 2011? And then season 2 came out in 2017, and now season 3 is, here. So it's been a couple of years in between each season. And the first season kind of had the Full Metal Alchemist problem where it caught up, so they made up their own ending. And then the second season comes around and is like, hey, actually,
just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, just pretend that didn't happen, and actually, let's rewind to the halfway point in the first season, and this is where we're picking up. Okay. That's the first episode of the second season.
You used to have to make a whole new anime to fix that.
Yeah. So, but all the characters start off as kind of cliches that I didn't I don't know. They're tropey shonen characters. The main character, and I'm going to list examples that came after Blue Exorcist, but they're just top of mind. Rin, the main character, has a lot of similarities to Yuji or Asta from Black Clover or Shinra from Fire Force.
Yeah.
I don't know, just seems like that. But it is beginning to play on these cliches and explore them. So I think my biggest criticism so far is how long it takes for it to begin to open up.
Mm.
But it is opening up, and I am entering the door.
You're having a good time?
I'm trying to figure out how this analogy works.
Enter the iris. Do you guys?
Anyway, that's me. Yeah.
Do you guys want some news?
Yes, I would love some. I think I know one of the things we could talk about.
First news. Hayao Miyazaki's latest film just became the first non-English language movie to win a Golden Globe for Best Animated Movie.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Wow. Yeah, it was like a for real like challenge too, because it was up against Makoto Shinkai's Suzume about the fucking chair boy.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is Makoto Shinkai knows how to make a good movie too, so we shouldn't dismiss it as the chair boy film.
Right.
And the Super Mario Bros. Film, which is a Wish, Elemental, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Ooh, yeah, that's also a strong contender. Yeah.
So it's the first film from Japan to get the Best Animated Film. So.
Wow, nice.
So we should probably sit down and watch that sometime.
I would watch it, yeah. Arpats is there.
Arpats is there. Also, since this piece of news is important for me, I'm going to sort of lean into the mic for this and just say, MOREO HEDORO.
Yes! This is what I was waiting for.
Yeah. Dorohedoro is getting a second season, and that's cool as fuck. Especially for this relatively obscure weirdo manga.
Well, and we've just been talking about it within the past couple of weeks.
We've been talking about how cool Dorohedoro is.
You're like, that one should come back.
I don't know if Mappa is going to be part of it.
Yeah,
they have not mentioned
maybe
it.
Not.
But what they did confirm is that the series creator Q Hayashida is going to be much more involved in the anime going forward.
Nice,
which is pretty cool. I found out some stuff about Hayashida the other day that was pretty neat, like how they started as a street artist. Which lends that series some of its griminess.
I love that.
So yeah, that's the news.
Cool.
It's just good news this week.
Only good today.
Only good vibes.
We're not going to be damaged this time, unless. Well, actually, I think I have a suspicion on what we were watching.
We're simply not going to be damaged this time because we all pretty much got together, except for Blackhole.
Blackhole doesn't know what we're going to watch.
Who might be surprised, but we all pretty much got together and we were just like, yeah, we're probably going to watch Dungeon Meshi this week.
So we have to watch Dungeon Meshi this time.
It just came out.
A couple days ago. Week. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the one. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Everyone seems to like this one, so let's go get some.
It's chomping time.
My hungry ass could never be an adventurer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's pretty good. You were right to be confident. I was just gonna say something about it. Just be like I have to confess that I also would like to eat my natural enemy, the scorpion.
You might I think you can just do that as the thing.
Yeah, but they don't.
It's not going to taste good, probably.
Justice through consumption.
Listen, they don't make them large enough that they would taste like soft-shelled crab to me.
They don't make those.
Which we can consider a blessing. Let's be honest.
Yes, a blessing and a curse.
What if scorpions were normal size, but then when you killed them, they became giant?
That would be distressing, actually.
I'm gonna do the blurb this time so that I don't have to do it some other time.
Yeah, you're gonna bank it. You're gonna bank this one so you can read fantasy names instead of Japanese names.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. After the Golden Kingdom is sunk underground by an insane magician, its king emerges, promising all of his treasure to anyone who could defeat the magician before crumbling to dust. Guilds are spurred on by this promise, traversing the labyrinthine dungeon in search of the magician. Laios, the leader of one such guild, encounters a dragon that wipes out his party and devours his sister Fowlin. Despite having lost the entirety of their supplies and belongings, Laios, along with Marcel and Elvin Healer, Shilchuk, a halfling thief, immediately re-entered the dungeon, determined to save Fallon. Time being of the essence, Laios suggests the taboo of eating the monsters in the dungeon as a means of gathering supplies. Upon the preparation of their first meal in the dungeon, they are stopped by an onlooking dwarf named Senshi. An enthusiast of monster cooking, he helps them prepare their monster ingredients for safe consumption. After learning of Laios' circumstances, Senshi expresses the desire to cook a dragon and joins their guild, thus beginning their food-filled foray into the dungeon together.
Woohoo!
Like Senshi, in this world, I could not be stopped from attempting to eat a dragon.
No, I would eat a dragon.
I need to know what it tastes like.
Like something ancient in my Germanic heritage calls upon me to devour the heart of a dragon and learn the speech of birds.
I think you could make a mean dragon steak.
But yeah, we watched the dub of this because I already knew that ProZD was in it, and boy is he in it.
He is Senshi.
He's really putting in the work.
He's doing a good job.
But let's begin from the beginning. We open on the dragon fight, and specifically from the point of view of Laos. Laos is probably the best because the only other way that I can think of to say that is Laos, and that's just a country in South Asia.
That's just a country. I think it is Laos.
He is not Laotian. So Laos is a fighter. He's wearing plate armor. And he is leading his party against a red dragon in the depths of the dungeon. It's a pretty standard dragon.
Yeah.
Very fiery.
It's just a big red dragon.
And he's just like, wow. Like we're gonna have to go back up for supplies after we beat this dragon, because we lost so much time on the way down here, and then we lost a bunch of our supplies in a trap. And as he's thinking about this, he's actually becoming distracted by it, because the fight is not going the way that he thinks it's going. Around him, he's making a lot of assumptions about what they're going to do after they beat this dragon. For a guy who hasn't beaten a dragon yet.
Yes.
And yeah, this is brought to a head almost immediately because his sister pushes him out of the way, and he's just like, "Wait, Fallon, what are you doing?" It's just like, did you get hit by a confused spell or something? And he watches her just get chomped.
He watches her get picked up by this big old dragon.
It's not particularly bloody. She's sticking out from between its teeth. And he looks around and he just realizes, oh, this thing whooped our asses.
Oh, we didn't do it.
We were all too hungry and tired to beat the dragon. And the last thing Fallon does is wave her staff and cast a teleportation spell to send them out of the dungeon. Where they awaken just in the regular Japanese fantasy grassy fields.
Yes. Classic.
And they realize it's just like, oh, it ate Fallon.
Oh God, she's down in there.
She's down in there. And they meet back up because they weren't teleported that far away. And Marcel and Chilchuk, which is an incredible name. Like, it's not hard to say, but it's confusing to think about.
What did Chilchuk?
Chilchuk.
He's a little guy.
but he's a little guy. He's a halfling. He's like a thief. And Marcel is a healer or a druid of some sort. She some sort of mage. She's got a staff.
One of those little hoop staffs.
She's got a hoop staff that's grown together, tree branch. But they take stock of their situation, which is they don't have any money because all of their equipment was left behind, and the only things they have are things that were on their body when they were teleported. And in addition, 2 of their party members just immediately tendered their resignations after getting their asses handed to them that hard. And it's just like, apparently they had been getting offers from other parties. It's just like, those bastards. But they're just like, well, we have to go back down there. We have to go back down there right now. Because
we gotta get her
before she gets digested.
Yeah.
Do you think we can revive her if it shits her out?
Yeah,
bro. No way.
I just want to capture this urgency that they have in this bottle right this second because the rest of the episode still plays out.
The rest of the episode still plays out.
Well, I was a little worried because I felt like they weren't really displaying enough urgency. But I feel like looking back on it, I feel like that maybe was the point. That like maybe in this world it takes a while to get it digested by a dragon.
Well,
that's kind of what they were saying.
And they have to cover the physical distance to get to the dragon.
Yes, it seemed like kind of like a while, because like, well, we'll get to it.
They were on a deeper level.
Yes.
So,
I'm just imagining she's in there like fucking Pinocchio and the whale, just sort of chilling.
Yeah, just hanging out. So yeah, they walk through town, and it's just like, well, first we should get something. We got to get something to eat because they were interrupted by their stomachs growling, and just like, well, we could go here, or we could go to the inn, and the food's cheaper over here, but the portions are bigger over here, and that place has a great menu, and they end up at the entrance of the dungeon again, and I love the art style shift here for just a second. Where the shadows get much darker, and it just zooms in on Laos's face, and it's just like, we're going in without anything. Listen, there's monsters in there. There's a whole ass ecosystem.
There's predator
monsters. Predator monsters eat prey monsters, which eat plant monsters. There must be light and water in there, light, water, and soil in there. Thus, humanoids should be able to survive.
Yes.
It's just like
questionable logic, but I understand, man.
Just like, are you fucking serious? He's just like, absolutely. And they bravely agree to go with him.
Marcel complains a lot about this, but
as they're going down, it starts to become pretty clear that not only is he rushing to get his sister, Laos is weirdly enthusiastic about the idea of eating monsters.
To the degree that Chilchuk does essentially ask if he has a fetish about this.
That, like, they immediately pass like a group of Lobi adventurers running scared from a walking mushroom, and he just stabs it and just starts to field dress it while Marcel is just like, no.
He's like, we're gonna eat this mushroom, man.
Like he's a fucking dog who snatched something he shouldn't, and he's just like, no, what are you doing? Spit it out.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna have to cut this out.
He's dying. We're gonna have to kill you and field dress you.
They're gonna have to
survive the winter. I'm sorry.
They're gonna have to eat of my flesh. Please, learn the ways of drying hide so that you can, so that my pelt may be useful to you in the deeper layers.
We have to use the entire magpie.
Yeah.
That's the only way my spirit can rest. So yeah, they move on to a area of the dungeon that actually has a significant amount of people in it, because it's a it's the first level, and there's a lot of treasure hunters hanging around, and they just sort of meet up in the catacombs to trade.
Yeah, it's like a little market.
And talk. They have a little impromptu bazaar set up, and Leos immediately catches a scorpion like he's catfish noodling, which I think is incredible.
It's quite good.
He wraps his sword in a shirt, and he sticks it in a scorpion hole until it pinches it.
And then he pulls it out and stabs it.
And he just pulls it out and wedges a dagger in between its chitin. Anyway, he pulls out the scorpion, and it's just like, do we have to cook this right here? Everybody's looking at it. Marcel is really funny in this.
Yes.
Because her job is to play the straight man to the antics of the others. And yeah, he's really gonna do it. He's got this book. There's a guide to dungeon cuisine, and he's just like, it says you can eat these mushrooms just fine, and the scorpion should be fine too. Even the tail. Well, I mean, if we eat it, the venom shouldn't affect us.
Yeah.
He also talks about how like he learned that it's difficult to cut them horizontally, but easy to cut them vertically.
It's like, we have new powers against the mushrooms.
It's like, I've learned tactical ability. He's just like, here, it looks more like food when it's cut. And she's just like, yeah, kinda. And he's just like, well, what are we gonna do? I figured we'd boil them. So they build a little fire and put a pot over it. And he chunks up the mushroom and sticks it in there. And he goes to just put the whole scorpion. He's just like, you're just gonna cook it whole like that? It's just like, well, that's what it says to do in the book. It'll be perfectly fine.
It'll be tasty.
He pulls it. He pulls out the tail and he bites into it and he just goes. He's like, oh god,
I'm gonna die.
So bad. They are interrupted at this point by ProZD.
Yeah, he's here.
Senshi is here.
Senshi is
I'm here to help.
He's a great character design. I love his little mustache.
He has a mustache poking out over his like helmet thing.
Yeah, he has like a little chin guard helmet that covers like his beard, but his beard comes out underneath it.
Yes.
And he's got a little bristly mustache above that. And his eyes are completely round.
Round circle little eyes. Very cute.
And he's just like, Scorpion hot pot, huh? I agree with your enthusiasm, just not your methods. And he's just like, what do you mean? And he's just like, well, you have to cook it like this. And he goes into this extremely detailed explanation of just like, when you cut it this way, you see the meat will shrink away from the shell. It'll be easier to take out.
You have to cut off all the legs, and you have to cut off the tail because those.
Got to get off the tail and the head, and you got to pull out these entrails because the texture is terrible and they taste awful.
And then we're gonna add some like little vegetables in here to spice it up a little.
And Marcel's not having it because the vegetables are growing from the catacombs. She's like those came out of dead people. Just like they're just plants. And just like come on, man, Tell them it's fine the way it is. And they're fighting over the mushroom. And she's like, Marcel, what? And she's like, what? And a fucking slime falls on her head from the ceiling. Which is great because they're still in the area with all the other adventurers. So none of the other adventurers pointed it out. Or even noticed it.
Right.
So there's just active monsters in the area and they don't give a shit.
They don't care.
And we get this great bit of characterization. She's like, "No, I can't cast my spells. This is the first way I ever died. Was I got drowned by a slime."
Which is like definitely like a kind of I got jump scared by that in a way.
Yeah, it's just like
just like these guys just die all the time.
Marcel has known death's cold embrace.
Yeah.
Well, I mean they do like imply that they can be brought back, so
yeah.
They've experienced resurrection magic before.
Mm-hmm.
So And
makes Final Fantasy party scenes a lot more like, like when in the old school Final Fantasy when they go to like the little like church area and revive a party member. Makes me think about that in a new light.
Very helpfully walks over and stabs the slime in the correct place and just sort of deflates it around her head. She's like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Some of it got up my nose." But he just goes on about it. He's just like, "Hey, you can cook these too." And it's like, "What, really?" It's just like, well, they're not that different. They may just seem like goop, but if you know how their organs are arranged, you can actually like dry them out. You gotta wash all the digestive fluid off of them.
They're basically like an inside-out stomach with all their digestive juices on the outside, and everyone's just like, and he's like, and then you can dehydrate them.
It's just like, yeah, you can dry them out. I built this rack for
this guy reminds me of just like people who are really into pickling.
Yeah, he's like your Facebook friend who became a mom and got really into canning things. And it's just like has given you like way too much food in jars that you don't know what to do with.
Oh, crazy Uncle Steve who loves smoking meats. Yeah, we love him.
Yeah, Steven the meat smoker. But yeah, he's just like, so now that lunch is done, it's just like, what? Just like, you guys seem like you're on a mission, right? It's just like, well, yeah, my sister got eaten by a dragon on one of the lower levels. It's just like a red dragon.
A dragon.
A dragon. Huh?
It's just like, let me join your party. I've always wanted to eat one.
I want to eat them. We could make a nice burger. We could.
It's just like I've got so many recipes.
I love his enthusiasm.
It's like we could make burgers, or we could make chop suey, or we could make steaks. Or we could so yeah,
let me join your party, please.
So they let Senshi in the party. Just like deranged dungeon chef has joined the party. And it's just like,
delightful.
Okay, well, they needed the manpower.
They do all have a moment of wondering if it is okay to eat a dragon that has eaten a person.
That's true.
Good question, actually.
It depends on I think it really depends on whether the person passed all the way through the dragon first.
I mean, I'm sure the dragon has eaten other persons. You just don't know about it.
That's true. People eat monitor lizards, and they occasionally eat people. People eat alligators. I've eaten an alligator.
I've eaten alligators. This is a good point.
Yeah, so that's basically our introduction to it. They move on to the second layer of the dungeon, and thus the second meal. I feel like that's going to be how the story beats go.
Yes, probably.
But we find out that it's one of those fucking isekai MMO dungeons, because the second layer is like fucking Star Wars Kashyyyk.
You know what it looks like? This second layer made me think of Made in Abyss. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing kind of made me think of that.
It's a forest in a dungeon, and they're walking on rope bridges between trees.
This is
with like the sun in the sky.
Yes, this is kind of Made in Abyss, but with less weird content about their underage characters.
Yeah.
So
forgot about that part of that.
So yeah, they're walking along, and I forget exactly how they get started on this, but yeah, they're talking about just like, well, we'll have to stop, we'll have to find somewhere and rest and figure out what's for dinner. And Marcel's just like, oh man, I really want like this or this, and just
can we just eat some like fruits or like a duck or
just like well, what requests do you have? I could try and whip up anything for you. It's like, but it's gonna have monster in it, isn't it? It's just like
the rub.
And they go on about it. It's just like, oh yeah, well there should be fruits and nuts in this area, right? Oh yeah, and they have a list of like monsters that are available in the area. It's just like what can we eat? Giant rats and bats? No, it's gross. It's just like goblins. It's just like no demi-humans.
No humanoid.
She's like animated armor. No.
It's like that's metal. This is metal.
This is metal.
We can't digest that.
And Senshi brings up is just like, yeah, there should be like fruits and nuts around, and they go for it, and she's just like, I knew it, there were monster plants. There were fucked up monster plants the whole time. You can't trick me. And it's just like, oh come on, it should be fine. And he goes into like weird detail about how these plants like hunt.
These plants will drag in small creatures with their roots so that it
Yeah,
dies and disintegrates and becomes fertilizer
because they can't digest them, so they just drag their corpses next to them.
They play the long game, basically.
It's just like, well, fine. It's just like, well, we'll have to get some of the fruits. It's just like, I've got a spell that'll help with this. Stand aside. And she starts her chanting, and Senshi just stops her. And it's just like, what are you doing, you idiot? And she turns around and fucking gets got by like a strangle-vine plant. And she's just like, what?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm having flashbacks to the free-run mimic.
A little bit, yeah.
Mimic blindness. I'll give her this. Marcel seems to be slightly more aware than Frieren.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Like she's a little. Marcel is Frieren if Frieren experienced death.
That's true.
That's so true.
She's a little more on the ball.
She's got it a little more together, I think.
But yeah, she gets caught up by one of them. And she's like, "Oh God, really?
Oh, it's gonna eat me!"
She's just like, Leos is just like, all right, hold very still, and I'll get you loose from this thing. And she's just like, I didn't even want to come here, and these things probably eat people, and I don't want to eat things that have eaten people. And it's just like, oh, come on, most of these don't even have digestive tracts. Weren't you listening? And he cuts it down at the root, and she falls down, and one of the big pods falls down, and just a dead guy just slides out of it.
Yeah, it's just in there.
And
she's like, then who is that?
Then who the fuck is that?
And he's like, oh, well, oops.
He's just like, well, I said only some of these species were like that. Some of them do digest their prey.
Just this, like, very dead, like, gray monk-looking guy.
Also, that species inserts its seeds under the victim's skin. So how did it feel? Because I feel like it needs you alive, so it doesn't squeeze you that tight. So it might be kind of cozy. And I was just wondering how if it was cozy. What do you think, Marcel? And it just
Lias, shut up.
It does a great freeze frame on her face where she looks like fucking Tails from Tails Got Trolled.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I just posted it in the chat.
Yes.
So
it's really great, just purely visual comedy.
like literally, like they just crop the frame in on her face.
Mm-hmm.
Like it even looks slightly lower.
They
quality.
Don't even continue the conversation. They just pick up the scene at the camp.
The audio just stops.
She's like, she's mad at me again. It's like, well, dude, you got really weird. Leos, are you okay?
It's like, Leos, you maybe need to like chill just a little bit, like.
And then back at camp, we go back to Senshi's cooking hour because it goes back to the fucking Gordon Ramsay mode of storytelling where he's just explaining. It's just like, all right, first what we got to do is we got to cut around the stem and you pull the seeds out like this, and then we take some of the broth from the scorpion earlier, and he makes this wonderful
he makes like a little quiche thing.
Yeah, he basically makes a quiche. And in the meantime, they're fighting over the seeds back there because Leos is just like, I just want to see if I can grow this on the surface. She's like, that's a terrible idea. incinerates them.
He's like, no.
My Blorbo.
Meanwhile, Senshi is making the best monster quiche anybody has ever seen.
Yes.
And they sit there and eat it, and they finally get her to take a bite, and she's like, "Wow, this is actually pretty good."
It's like, okay, it's tasty.
She's just
fine.
like, I see. They make tasty fruits to draw in their victims.
Being tasty.
Being delicious is part of their strategy. And it's like, you finally see the beauty of monsters. You're like, shut the fuck up. You absolute freak.
I love their dynamic.
And then they have to discuss this, so what are we going to do with the dead guy?
It's
just like, well, we can't take him back. We can't go out of our way to take him back up.
This was the joke that got
I don't know. The corpse cleaners will probably find him if we leave him somewhere where people can see. It's just like, okay, so they fucking hoist him up on a branch, and they're looking up at him, and the halfling Chilchuck, the halfling guy's just like, kind of reminds you of the gallows, doesn't it?
They're just dangled this man.
And they just leave
Not
it.
only do they just leave it, they go to bed in a tree stump, overlooking where he is hanging from.
He's just hanging outside of their camp.
He's just hanging right by their window while they're sleeping. It's very funny.
I'm just like, who? Is this fucking room service at a fucking hotel? You fucking put your tray outside your room when you're done, and they'll go and take it.
You fold your towels so that they don't collect them all. Good lord.
But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the episode. That's
the show.
They muse about how food is food.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, food is food.
Food is food, y'all.
There is a cycle at work here.
Yeah.
And eating is the purview of the living.
Yeah.
We will feast.
Yeah, that was something.
Intense quote for what this anime
definitely plays into my fear of cannibalism.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, Laios is not that far off from coming up with a recipe for his own ass. This hungry motherfucker.
His hungry ass could never be an adventurer. I feel like if they had come across a goblin, he might have taken a little nibble.
He might have started in on it, and that's really crossing a boundary.
And that's really, that's definitely a little much in my book.
You know what my line is most of the time is, hey, is it capable of speech? Probably shouldn't eat it. And yeah, that does leave an exception for parrots. But you know what? I don't think parrots are probably that good.
They're probably edible, but probably only barely.
They're probably pretty gamey.
Really thought you were going to say they're probably pretty gay, and I was going to be like, yeah.
Some of them might be gay. That's not really relevant to whether I'd eat them or not.
This parrot is gay, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I suppose I could eat him.
So yeah, this show pretty fucking good, y'all.
This show fucks.
This show fucks. Also, I do need to. This is only for me and maybe Louis, but the song at the end was by Bump of Chicken.
Bump of Chicken, yeah. Yes. I was waiting to interject with that.
Yes.
Okay, is that good?
They're good. Yeah,
okay,
I love Bump of Chicken.
Good. I love the show. It is consistently funny in ways we have failed to describe.
Yes.
So much of it is just in facial expression.
Yeah. No, this is very much telling the jokes really doesn't sell as, how good it is.
Because it's like a characterization comedy. Marcel is the straight man and everybody else is a freak in some way or another. Except for Chilchuck, who's just who exists as an anti-straight man by just being like, yeah, it's weird, but I'll go along with it.
Chilchuck is just kind of there to be like, this is pretty funny. Let's do it. Why not? I don't know.
That's bullshit, but I believe it.
Kind of love Chilchuck a lot.
He's just a little guy.
My halfling bias is
he's
showing.
Just a tiny guy. He's just a small friend.
Senshi is an incredible character design.
Yes.
I actually forgive Laos's armor being completely inaccurate because I think his collar actually is essential to his character design.
Mm-hmm. He has a strong silhouette.
It makes him like really rigid looking.
Yes.
Which is for whatever reason just necessary for the comedy of it all.
Mm-hmm. Because he has such an intensity to him.
And also every scene where he pulls the fucking dungeon cuisine guide out of his tits.
He does.
Where he keeps it. He keeps it in his breastplate. It's also fully annotated before the journey
They do
even
comment
begins.
on it. They're just like, why does it look like it's been read through so much?
He's got the little bags under his eyes that indicate a secret obsession.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, are we going to watch more of this?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
I'm absolutely in because, fuck, I mean, I already have Netflix.
Oh, well, not only that, but I've definitely like heard of stuff in this that I want to get to that I don't even really fully remember. I just know that I've seen stuff that I'm like, oh, I want to see this.
I know the.
This anime is so well animated.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Is this not a?
We haven't talked about.
Is this not a Trigger project?
It is.
I forget.
It is. I don't know how much hands they have in on it, but they are in on it because I saw their little logo.
Studio Trigger is listed as the only studio working on it. So
wow, okay.
Yeah, I'll say the shot where Marcel like lifts the little like spoonful of quiche, like monster quiche, into her mouth. Like you could see that little quiche piece like rotating in 3D, and it blew my mind a little bit.
We didn't really discuss it. The food actually looks good. Like it looks great.
Yeah.
They fucking Food Wars it.
They did.
I feel like they took it in a Ghibli direction.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, I would not usually consider eating large arthropods, but that scorpion hot pot looked pretty fucking good.
I mean, listen, shrimps is bugs.
I also have never considered eating a slime, which is basically a macro-sized microorganism.
I mean, people eat jellyfish, technically.
But I would consider it if this man made it for me. I would at least taste it.
Yes, that's the thing is when I'm watching this, I am like kind of in my brain comparing the fake ingredients to like ingredients that I'm familiar with as like my own little frame of reference, and I'm like, okay, the scorpion probably has similarities to like crab or lobster. The slime, I imagine, is just kind of a sort of like
the closest thing you're going to get is the jellyfish, and that's pretty uncommon.
And I was going to say it's probably more of a texture thing. The mushroom, probably tastes like a mushroom.
I will say that they're eating a big red top mushroom, and in my experience, most big red top mushrooms kill you.
Poisonous, yes. Listen, they're eating the feet, so it's fine.
Yeah, apparently the feet are good.
Delicious.
You fucking mushroom foot.
Oh my god, fucking mushroom. I meant to bring that up during the whole mushroom fucking scene, and then we just completely moved on.
Because mushroom foot smeller is a great line.
It is.
But yeah, I'm in.
I'm in.
If you have a D&D monster that you'd like to eat, you can tell us about that at oneepisodecast@gmail.com. And also the Twitter. I would love to have that Twitter conversation, actually.
That is one word, not the number. Not the...
Not the cumber?
Not the cumber. Yeah, we're on Twitter. We're also on Blue Sky. We are at OneEpisodeCast. Come send us your best dungeon recipes. We need them for the long journey ahead of us.
We're at the grocery. They got tomat and cumber. Jalapeno.
Don't attack me like
pineapple.
this. Stop it.
They got the apple. I'm banana.